I just came back from Afghanistan, and it really makes me think about Julian Assange, because I went to Afghanistan for the first time 20 years ago, when the U.S. was bombing Afghanistan. Started out, the shock, and we were told that these were now, remember, precision bombs. Remember that? Yeah, these precision bombs. And that there weren't going to be civilian casualties. So I went over with a group of, there were 4 of us women, and we're Stafford. We went into Pakistan first. Went into Peshawar. You know Peshawar? Yeah, it's a wild place. Went through the crazy mountains to get into Kabul and found these streams of civilians whose loved ones had just been killed by U.S. precision bombs. And we thought, what are we going to do about this? Kids who didn't have parents anymore, widows who had no money to feed their kids, people who were desperate to begin with, and now we're just totally impoverished, not a penny. So we went back to the United States, we went to the US government, we said, first of all, you gotta stop killing civilians, and second of all, the ones you killed, you gotta compensate them. So they said, you're crazy, these are precision bombs, we don't kill civilians. That was in the old days. Well, we fought, and finally, we had the Afghan War Diaries, thanks to WikiLeaks.
Thank you.
And what did the Afghan War Diaries show? First they released about 90,000 memos that showed thousands and thousands of civilian casualties. And then they released, maybe you wrote it, John, a CIA manual about how to convince the American public that this was actually a good war. And then they released documents about, the death by container. The younger ones here probably don't remember that, but this was when a bunch of Taliban, like thousands of them, surrendered. And they were put in these metal containers to transport them. And then they were either just suffocated to death, or they were shot at through the containers. And it could have been up to 2,000 prisoners of war. That's actually not allowed, prisoners of war. They even released, to show they were even-handed, memos from jihadists. There were like 1,000 handwritten memos that released by WikiLeaks. And so all of these materials in total were over 300,000 documents related to Afghanistan. It was amazing. Now for us, it helped us go to the American government and force them to create a compensation fund for Afghan victims. Now, we could talk about what was the life of an Afghan victim worth, because it wasn't worth very much according to the US government. But thanks to those Afghan war diaries, we could prove that there were thousands and thousands of civilian victims. But more important than that, it changed the perception of the Afghan war. It changed the perception from the Afghan war being the good war, and all we had to do was send in more troops, just another surge, and we could have won that war, to one that showed that it was indeed a quagmire, and we had to figure out how to get the hell out of there. And so we owe a lot to Julian Assange for helping us to understand what was really going on in Afghanistan, what our government was really doing in Afghanistan, for exposing all the lies of our government, exposing all the deaths. And now, I know we're not allowed to talk about Ukraine, but I'm only going to say it because the American people are caring about civilian deaths, because they see it every day on the TV screens. And if we had a media that would have shown us all of the deaths in Afghanistan, we wouldn't have needed WikiLeaks to teach us what our government was doing.